Hello, welcome back. Nigel here with you, Nigel's Modelling Bench. Part 11 now of the build of this beautiful Pocher Lamborghini Aventador. And if you remember, in part 10 I finished off by talking about assembling these headlights with these tiny little, I believe they're indicators. Tiny little lights that go in. They're very, very fiddly. But we've got them together. You can see the background there, which is part D09 and D08. I sprayed those with a gloss black, Tamiya LP-1. Let that go off for a good sort of 36 hours, so it's nice and hard. And then I've used ultra glue, painted the back of the light silver. Remember I said I had to thin down the tabs, shorten them to get them to fit in the holes. And then I've put a little drop of that glue in those holes, put the parts in with tweezers, and that's it. Be very, very careful. Use very high quality tweezers. Don't use these cheap things that do this and flick the parts across the room, because there's 14 of these and you only get 14 on the sprue. There are no spares. So if you lose one, you've had it. You can imagine trying to find one of those in a carpet, especially with it being a clear part. So we've got those in. They've got lines on the front of them that have to line up and everything, and they're very, very difficult. They don't fit very well. But just persevere and they do go together. And then what I've done afterwards, I've got some of this ultra glue, thinned it roughly 50-50 with water, and then just gone around with a paintbrush and painted around each one so that it's thinner, it capillaries into any gaps, and we'll just let that dry now for a good 24 hours, and then we can fit them into our headlights. You can see the headlights are here with these pieces glued in, all looking good. So that's those there, and they can just sit and wait. So what I'm doing, I'm looking here, there's nothing really here that needs painting or anything. So we go over the page here, we're on page 31. And you can see here, we're going to be fitting these mesh grills, surrounds, headlight lenses, and all sorts of bits and pieces in here. So I'm looking at what I need to paint and what I'm going to do. So, what they're talking about here is putting a decal in there and then a sticker over the top of it and then sticking that clear light on. I think what I'll do is see what colour that decal is and probably paint that area and then glue that in with white glue, because I think you're going to be able to see through that, unless it's frosted. We'll have a look at the part in a minute, but unless it's frosted, you're going to see that double-sided tape through there. I'm guessing this is going to be orange or clear or something. I don't know, but these big surrounds here I wanted to look at because I want to paint these. I've looked online. There are a lot. I didn't realise there are lots and lots of different Aventador front bumpers. I didn't realise that. So I found one of these, found a close-up, and these are actually like a semi-gloss black. So I got them off the sprue, they're the K sprue, and cleaned it up, and it's all ready now for paint. But the reason I'm talking about these, I want to show you, they have absolutely massive sprue gates on them. You can see them here. Bring this light over to the top. You can see these sprue gates are absolutely massive. And the way to remove this one, because what you need to be careful of with these, if you start just hacking them off, you will rip gouges of the plastic out. So what I'm doing here, this one here, I'm going to cut that section off of there, and then I'm going to cut like halfway. I shouldn't be using these nippers for this really. And then I'm going to cut the top of that off and come in like that. And as you can see, I'm removing it in stages so that I'm not ripping one big thick chunk of plastic out at once. Alright, and then I'm not going to go down to the surface, I'm going to go down to the surface and up a touch. I mean, if we do rip any gouges out, it should be easy to fill. I'm not even sure if this area is going to be visible. Same here, we just remove the top of that one. Remove the top of that one. Remove the top of this one in stages. There we go. There we are. Luckily the plastic's not too hard, so it doesn't shatter when you cut it. It actually cuts, which is nice. And then I've got 400 grits, well, it's a worn out 400 grits, more like a 600. And just literally just sand away, okay, until all those disappear. And then I'm finishing off with a 1500 sponge. Just going around the whole part and softening the edges, taking away any sharp mould lines or anything. There's a mould line around the inside here, that needs to go. There's a mould line around the outside here, that needs to go. And then basically just sand it and sand it and sand it and sand it, and then I'm going to give it a coat of LP-5 semi-gloss black. Same with these little grills up here. These are going up at the top of the bonnet. We'll paint those black as well. I don't want any bare plastic left anywhere, so basically I'm going to paint everything. Now the other thing we need to look at is these mesh grills, P107 and 08. I've got the P sheet here. So you can see here we've got 7 and 8. This is pre-coloured in black, which is really nice. So what I'm going to do here is grab my cutters and cut this off, which is easier said than done. So let's get a knife, see if we can cut it with a knife. Don't cut it on a cutting mat. You never cut photo etch on a cutting mat. I don't know what I was thinking of then. Because what happens is when you cut photo etch with a cutting mat, you push it down. It's almost like when you push into a sponge. What happens is it'll push it and it'll bend the edge of the photo etch. Always cut it on a hard mat, on an old kitchen tile or something like that. No, this is too hard. I'm going to have to use these cutters, which I really don't want to do. Oh dear, I really don't like doing this. It ruins them. My worry is with using those is they may well damage it. And the reason I'm taking these off now before I do any painting is because according to the instructions, we have to bend them. Now, normally when you get photo etch parts, let's just get rid of those little nibs that are left on there. I don't think the outside edge is going to be visible, so we don't need to worry about the touching it up, but the actual little nib may well affect the finish. Let me get this board out of the way for you. Okay, so that's going to basically fit on there like that. I'm assuming they're totally symmetrical. Yes, they are, so it doesn't matter which side goes on where, so make sure you see this side. No, I thought it had a scratch on it. Yes, it has, it's got a scratch on it, so we'll make sure that one goes on here so that the scratch is on the inside. So that's got to fit in there, but I'm not quite sure how on earth you're supposed to know. They're telling you here to bend it, but there's no indication there whatsoever of where I need to bend it. And the trouble is, if I put a hard bend in there, it's going to not want to come out. So I'm not really exactly sure how I'm going to go about this. Maybe we can just push it in. Just push it in until it goes over the pins. Not over the moon with that, to be honest. But at least I can see now that the bend, what I'm going to do is get a bit of masking tape. I can put the masking tape where the bend needs to be. So we're going from that okay, so that's kind of where the bend needs to be. So if I can spring this out, Can't get it out now. There we go, it's going. There we are. So now I can see where that needs to be. So what I can do is grab I just use the edge of the mat. What I'm going to do is put a bend in it there. Let's see how well it fits. If I keep the tape in place, these holes need to be enlarged. Those pins aren't going right through. Diameter of these pins. Let's see what diameter these pins are. 1.3. So if I grab a drill, 1.3, that falls through the holes. What about 1.4? I know this isn't possibly the best interesting watch in the world, but it's good for you to see for when you do yours. You know where you're going. So we've got that bend in there, so I want to see how this is going to look now. Oh, okay, the reason those pins won't go through is because the holes, they're on an angle. So I'm going to grab the 1.4 drill. Which way is it? Yes, that way. I'm going to grab the 1.4 drill. Just see if I can elongate those holes slightly, because they need to be oval in shape to go over those pins properly. See this, as I said, it's not the most interesting watch, but if you're building one of these, you should be able to learn quite a bit from it. Don't use the front of the drill, guys, because it'll probably blunt it. Go down the side and use it like a milling cutter and just make those holes slightly oval so they go over those pins a bit better. Yeah, the top one's going, but the bottom one doesn't want to know. Okay, so let's this is very awkward. It just really does not want to go over that pin. I'm going to go off camera and do this because, as I say, it's probably boring the living daylights out of you. It just will not go over that bloody pin. There we go. It's gone over now. It's imperative that it does go over, because otherwise you end up with a big gap down in there. So we can push this into here. That pin's going to go over there. And you can see that that is fitting in there lovely. We need to tighten the bend up on the top and move it over slightly. Yeah, so let's get this back out. So it's this side that needs to be, let's get a pen. It's that side we need to do. God blimey. Doesn't want to come out. Here we go. Get off those holes. So it's this side that needs to be done. We're going to put it over the edge of the cutting mat. just push down on that on the top. And this is going to be a case of just keep trial fitting until it goes in lovely. And now you can see why I'm doing it before I'm painting, because all the handling would put fingerprints on the paint and everything. And there, as you can see, we have that fitting lovely. So what I'm going to do, if I can get the bloody thing out again, come on, there we go. What I'm going to do now is lay this one over here. Like so. I'm going to grab some more tape. What I'm going to do is hold these together. I'm just going to tape them together like that. So they are perfectly lined up. And now with another piece of masking tape on there, we can put that aligned with the other one. Just like so. And now we know that we can fold that one exactly the same as that one. Now, we'll also have to elongate those holes, I expect. So you can see now how that's gone. Now, I'm going to hold this up to the camera. I'm not going to say anything, because if I tell you wrong, if I make a mistake in my counting, you'll mess your photo etch part, but you won't be very happy. So I'm going to hold this up to the camera, so you can look at where that tape is, and you can see where the bed needs to go. So you can count the number of holes, up, down, left, right, whatever. I'll show you that's the way it is. Okay. That's where the tape is. You can freeze frame, take a still of that, and then you'll know where to bend yours. Okay? And it should work out right. Just to prove, so we did it that way round, bend that down. So we're going to see if this works out. I'm on the edge of the cutting mat. I'm bending this down like that. The top needs to be tighter than the bottom. So now we can try that in there. Look at that, those pins go over lovely. But the bottom one doesn't want to know it. So we're going to elongate that hole. If you've got any microfiles that are getting, you'd be better off using a file. I don't have anything that small. Elongate these holes. I'm going to do this off camera, and then once it's fitted in, I'll come back and show you how it looks. Hey, there we go. Just so you know, the tape position I chose seems to work out really well. So there we go. So that's in there. And what we'll do after we've painted these, we can come in and just glue them in. So, I mean, what we could do is glue them in now and paint them all together, but I'm not going to do that. So there we are. So I think what we'll do is we'll basically clamp them together. We'll put a clothes peg or something on there, or something lighter, and we'll just run super glue in behind, and it will get into the joint. So there we are. In fact, I might do it before I paint them, and then if I do get anything on the outside, I can just wipe it away, sand it, rather than ruin a paint job and have to do it all again. So I may just do that and then paint them. So because it's LP paint, we don't need to prime them. LP paint is designed to go straight onto plastic. So there we go. So that's that job done. I'll just show you once again, that's where the tape is. So you can do the same on yours. Right, let's get this sanded down and we'll get those glued in. Right, so that's them glued in, and what I've done, I've used the my applicator and the black thin super glue and just gone round and basically gone round the edge. and got them glued in. I can't get down that edge there. I don't want to put any glue on the edge because it'll look awful. But you can see from the inside we have no glue whatsoever. But they will be, if I leave those for a good 4 or 5 hours, they can cure, and they should remain solid and not break away. It's the tops that are the problem, not the bottoms. Sorry, it's the bottoms. Yeah, it's the bottoms that are the problem. So we just need to hope that they don't break away, because it won't look very nice if it does. But they're not under much tension, so they should be okay. Right, so if they do break away, I suppose we just glue them back. But we shall see. I think after I've taken these pegs off and this glue's cured, I think I'll probably put another good line in, maybe some thicker glue, just to make sure they stay where they are and don't just ping off one day, because you'll see a gap. It's horrible. I thought it was the top, but it's not, it's the bottom, which is a shame, because that's going to be very, very obvious. Anyway, so they're glued in, job done. Right, I hope you got something from that, because this has been one of my things I've been thinking about. It might be an idea if Pocher, I know Pocher watched these videos, it might be an idea if you can do it on your forthcoming kits. Perhaps do something on the instructions, like have the full size photo etch piece like that, yeah, and then show a line so that we can put it over, put the tape on, we know where to bend it. Because if you bend that wrong first time, it's going to be a right mess, because you can't ever bend it back properly. So I think that would be a good idea, Pocher, for you to do that, and that would help us out a lot. Right, moving forward, I've just got to wait for everything to dry now. I'm waiting for everything to dry. It seems I spend my life waiting for everything to dry and painting black. So there we are. So I'm going to come back when this is all painted and we'll see how it looks. And we're back. So as you can see, they're in, and I've got them painted. You can see it looks so much better when they're glued in. You've got no little gaps around there. So very nicely done, even if I say so myself. There we go. So that's all done, and the bits are painted. And there's the bonnet latch there, or the hood latch. I didn't notice that, so that's all painted as well. I don't want any bare plastic on this if I can help it. So these headlights, these little units now are all dry. They're all in there nice and solid. I'm not going to prod them too much. Basically this little assembly will drop in from behind into there, just like that. Need to be careful not to break any of those little lights off. There we go. So that's just going to sit like that. Okay. Now again, we've got some gaps down the side here. So what I'm going to try and do is use some of my black super glue to get rid of them. Now, as you can see, this just wants to fall about all over the place. It doesn't want to stay there. So I'm going to have to be very, very careful. In fact, what I think I'm going to do is grab a bit of tape. Just a small piece of masking tape. Just tape that in there. Just temporarily while it's being glued, and then when the glue's dry we can take it off and add some more. So we'll do the same on the other side. Pop this one in. Again, being careful not to break any of those little lights off. And then we'll just add a little piece of tape just to hold it in. Stop it falling back out and trying to fall through and everything. And then we can take our black thin super glue, we can put some obviously around that pin. We can put some in here around these edges. I'm going to use a cotton bud just to mop up the excess, because I'm not sure how well fitting these lights are going to be. That back edge there is okay, that's well out of sight, so we can make sure we get plenty in there and get this. It's not a very good fit, is it? You'd have thought it would have, because everything else is just pushed in and not glued. One would have thought. I've got bloody glue on my fingers now. I'm going to do this off camera because I'm going to make a right mess, and I'll be back when it's all dry and done. Alright, so as you can see, we've got the front end out now. These headlights are pretty much dry. There is an issue we need to be very careful of here. There's a lot of super glue in here, and obviously there are gaps in here, so there is also super glue in here. And we can also see, I've just noticed, we have some staining there, which we'll have to get rid of. But basically, what it's telling us to do in the instructions is to, these lenses, it's got a number 1, and then when it comes to actually, it's got the headlights number 2, and then fit the frunk 3rd. So if we put those clear lenses on first, which you can see I've got off here and all cleaned up and everything, if we put those on first and then put those headlights in, if that super glue hasn't completely cured, these are going to fog up. So I'm not going to chance doing that, so I'm going to leave it for a few hours. So I was looking at other bits and pieces. I've got these side marker lights off, and I've put the double-sided tape on them. As you can see, again, use the wrong side and stick it to the plastic part rather than to the model. And also they give you white decals to go in there. So I've done that as per the box, and we'll see how it looks when it's all done. If I don't like the look of it, it'd be easy to just rip it all off. The tape will bring the decal off, and then we can rip the tape off of there, soak it in some IPA or something, and then we'll paint that in there and then glue these on with clear glue. So we'll see what happens there. So then I was looking at these grills at the front, and they look bloody amazing with the satin black paint on them. They look really, really nice. It's just like one little unit. And I fitted them in, and in the background here there's quite a thick area, quite deep. So what I've done, I've masked it all off, and I've painted it flat black, as you can see there. Okay, so when we put those grills in, I don't think they'll fit in with the masking tape. When we put the grills in, we won't see, we won't see the yellow in behind there. We'll only see black. So I just thought that will actually improve the look of things. So in fact, if I get this masking tape off of here, I can show you. There we go, you can see that masking is off. The edges aren't perfect, it doesn't matter because this drops in there. As you can see, it covers up the edges. But you can see now when we look in there, we don't see any yellow. All of that area there, look, you see where all that black is, that was all yellow, and it looked a bit, I don't know, it just looked a bit tacky. I thought I'd paint it black. You know, you could go in there, brush paint it, or even use a marker pen or something just to get rid of that bright yellow look. You can see now those grills are here, or that one is in. And looking lovely. So I'll get the masking off the other side, and then once we've left this a few hours, come here, I'll come back and I'll show you what we're going to do. I've got all the all of these are the rams for lifting the bonnet and the hood up, and the engine cover and everything. I've got all them off and painted them all. I seem to remember why have I only got 3 of those. I could have sworn I had 4 of those. I don't know what's going on here. I think I've lost one. Maybe there is only supposed to be 3 because there's only 1 under the front. I remember Moss had an issue with the length of it or something. We have on here, let's get rid of these bloody parts. We have on here this WR02 and LO2, and I think they're both short, and I think one's supposed to be long and one's supposed to be short or something. I can't remember now. But there was definitely a bit of confusion there that Moss was talking about. So I've got them all off, cleaned up all the seams, got rid of the sprue nibs, and just painted all them in satin black as well. So so there we are. So we're really ready to go now on this step. But now I do not want to tempt fate and put those headlights in, not knowing that that super glue is completely cured, because that is just asking for trouble. So let's wait and see. Right. So we are ready to go. That glue's been in here for a good 3 or 4 hours now at least. So I'm sure it's going to be absolutely fine. So we got that mark gone off of there as well. So that's good. So our headlights are looking good, all shiny and everything, and they're ready to go in. So following these instructions, as we said, we've got number 1 here for the lens, and then we've got number 2 here for the actual headlights. Remember this, guys, with Pocher, when you look at this, if this was a book, it would be like this, okay? And what they do, that is not one step. These whole 2 pages are one step, except for those 2 bits there. But these whole 2 pages are one step. So you have to keep doing that, especially when it comes to fitting all those interior parts. Make sure you're looking across to the next one. So we'll take a lens. This one is going to go in that side. I've got my Tamiya anti-static brush here that will remove any dust or anything. So make sure there's nothing on there. I'm just going to give it a quick wipe on the cloth. So what's going to happen now, we've got a little tab on here, and that is going to go into that little recess. You can see at the bottom there, next to that screw, there's a little recess. So that has got to fit into there. So this is going to go up under, and then the bottom is just going to fall in. And it won't stay there on its own, and it will keep trying to fall out. So we need to keep our hand here. There you go, you see it just wants to fall out, but we need to make sure that that little tab stays in. And then we can put that is the right one, isn't it? We can put the headlight in and slide it across, grab a screw, put that screw down in there. They're saying to use E-screws. It feels like they're a little bit too long. I'm just going to put these in loosely. I'm sure that screw is too long to go in there. And when we turn it over, we can see the lens is actually held in by the actual light itself. Okay, so there we go. So that's all in there, nice and solid. So I'm going to look into this issue with the screw. I have a feeling that screw hole, let's just gauge how deep it is. I have a feeling that screw is too long. I'm going to see what else we've got that's a bit shorter. If not, we're going to have to grind some off the end of that screw, because I do not want to damage to push any metal out of that side. I'm going to keep my finger on the back and keep screwing. Yeah, see, it feels like it's bottomed out and it's nowhere near the actual light. So I'm going to have to see if we've got a shorter screw. Back in a sec. So those screws actually did go in. So obviously I hadn't tapped them deep enough. I just kept going as they designed, you know, to screw them in without a thread, but I had a thread in there for not very deep. I just kept going and they've gone in absolutely fine. I checked the depth again and it's very, very close, but check with yours, because if there is a slight casting error, you will find that what will happen is you'll tighten the screw up and you'll damage the material here, and if you split that open, it will be very difficult to repair. So that's our headlights in, and that is a beautiful bit of design work with those lenses, which mean you don't have to glue them, and they're in there nice and solid and held in place with the actual lights themselves. So there you go. You can see now those headlights, and all that work, all that painting and everything has really paid off. I think it's been worth it. When we look at the lights from the side, you can see those little ones, they're clear, but when you look from the front, they're silver because we painted the back silver. Let's have a look at these little things now. That's the wrong side, that's for this side. So, as I said earlier, I've put the decal in there, so it's a white decal. Grab the knife, just see if we can peel away this top layer. There we go, so we've left the double-sided tape on there. So now we can just, it's very awkward, this thing, it's very front heavy, it just keeps wanting to fall over. So we'll see how that looks. Oh, it looks absolutely fine. I thought it was going to look awful. No, it looks absolutely fine. Look at that. So we'll do the same on the other side. Get rid of that bit of paper. And as you can see, doing this, putting these on with the paper still on, is much easier than putting it onto the model, because you've got to get it right on the model straight away. But on the clear part, you could lift it back off, you can shift it around, trim the edge, whatever. Same with those windows. If you saw my last video, you'll see I did it with the windows, the side windows. Use the wrong side because they're all symmetrical, and stick it on the glazing rather than on the model. So there's that one in as well. Simple, wasn't it? Right, so we'll see how long they stay in. They'll probably fall out in a couple of years. But anyway, we shall see. Okay, so now it's saying to do this. So we've got this. Let's put these hinges in. We've got this rubber gasket, and we've got our little frunk here with the lovely lining material. So let's put these hinges in. So we've got these hinges which are HBO1 and HBO2. So this is HBO1. We'll turn this over and put it in the same orientation as is in the instructions. So HBO1 is going on that side, and it looks like that way round. I'll put up the hinge. Which set of screws is going to fit the bonnet? Yeah. So that one is going to go in there. Whoops. Fold that hinge back down. It's not gonna stay there, is it? It's because the hinge is folded down. It's not folded down. So I'll put that through like that. Get it onto those holes. Like so, and then fold it down, and then it should stay there. Yeah. And now we want a D screw. There's a D screw, isn't it? Yes, it's a D screw, so we get a D screw. We'll probably get about 50 on the screwdriver. There we go. I'm just going to pop that one into there. As you know, the thread has been previously cut. There we go, so that's on there. There we are. The hinge is rattling. It's not... Oh, yes it is, it's not tight. There we go, it's tight now. There we are. I thought it was the actual hinge mechanism rattling, but it wasn't. Get very careful with those D screws because it's a tiny little short thread and it takes absolutely nothing to strip them. This die-cast material is fairly soft. So we'll do the same on this side. So it's going to be that way around. So we can hook that in there. Hook those onto there, fold the hinge up. It should stay where it is. We'll put the screw on the screwdriver and we'll put the screw in the hole. There we go. So that's our hinges in place. So now we've got to fit this frunk. So we've got this gasket going around the edge. That's going to have to be cleaned up. It's going to take quite a lot of work. And we've got the frunk itself here, which has the lovely, I wish they'd done that on the dashboard, has that lovely flocked interior. So get this out of here. And this is going to need a lot of cleanup because all of this edge, I believe, is going to be exposed. So what we'll do is we'll cut it and leave something on there. Wow, how many screw gates do you need? Loads is the answer. There's no parts on there, no, there's nothing on there. Okay, so now we've got to clean up this edge. So we're going to come around here and I'm going to come in really close to the edge of the vinyl because it's extremely difficult to cut little thin slivers off. So try and get in as close as you can with your nippers. Just nip the edges off like that. It's going to be a little more difficult on those radius bits. So here we're going to come in from the other side. Okay, so I'm not over the moon with that. It just needs a bit more cleanup. So I'll get this cleaned up and then I'll come back and we'll get it all fitted. Right, we've got it all cleaned up. So now that is just going to drop down in there like that. And then this frunk is going to go over there. We've got recessed holes in here, so they're going to go over those pins, so make sure they do go properly over. There we go. So we want 3 screw Bs, is it? Yes, 3 screw Bs. There we go, there's 3 in one shot. So once again we'll get these screws in. Yes, I've got the shakes. Put them in loosely as we always do, get everything lined up first. That should hold that in nice and solid. I clearly haven't tapped these holes deep enough because the screws are going tight at the end. This is what I'm saying, without tapped holes you can't feel when things are done up. So there we go, so we have our frunk in place. So all that work we did in the front end is all now going to be covered up, but you're going to see it down through these gaps in here. So that was all worthwhile, wasn't it? Right, so now actually we've got to fit the, you have to fit the bonnet or the frunk or the hood or whatever you want to call it. So we got the hinges in, so they can come up like that. Oh, we've got these pieces to go on here as well. So I'm going to have to get some super glue ready, so I'll be back in a second. Got some super glue here, so we're just going to put a drop in each one of these holes. We don't need much. And then this one's going to go in this side. Get those pins lined up. One in there. One in there. There we are, that's those fitted. Now we've got this bracket. So we got WR02, which is a short one. I can't remember now what Moss said, but I remember him saying that something's wrong with these. Maybe the other instruction manual's wrong. So we've got that one there. And then it's saying L02, which was one of the short ones. So there's L02. So that's going to go up inside there. Just like that. Then we've got to get a G screw. Going to need a smaller screwdriver now, so we'll get a smaller screwdriver out. I don't know why I don't just keep the small ones out. I only use those two. So I'll get the... Sorry guys, I moved this little dog out of the way. You want to see this in the shot, don't you? I know a lot of people want to see... They want to see this head in the shot. There we go. The nose is watching on. Right, so there we go. So we need a G screw, tiny little thing. Only want one. We've got two. Get off. And that is going to go. Yep, that screwdriver is too big. So we need to find a smaller screwdriver. Is that one going to do it? Yes. So I'm going to get this out of the way. Get the hood over. And we are going to screw this part onto that bracket there. Back it off so that it can pivot. There we go. And then this one here is going to go onto this part here, which is L03. And for this one we're going to use a J screw, which again is another tiny one. So this WR02 it's going to go onto there that way round. So then we'll put it on the bench. We'll drop that screw in there. And obviously because it's going into plastic it's going to be self-cutting. That's too tight, so back it off. There we go, it's all free moving now. So that's in there, and then this is going to go into the bodywork here. And it's another J screw from underneath, so we're going to grab a J screw, get it on the screwdriver ready. We can put this in, it's going that way round, so it's the screws facing to the left side of the car. There we go, and there's a hole for it to go down to, so we can just put our finger over, hold that in place, turn it over, and come into... Oh, these bloody shakes are doing my head in. Oh, come on. Gotcha. Right. So that's going in, just because it's in a square recess, it's a sloppy fit, just back the screw off just to allow it to come back square. Just makes it look a lot nicer, doesn't it? So now we've got to somehow get this bonnet fitted. So what I'm going to do is fold those hinges right back like that. So what we're using here are D screws. So we want 2 D screws. 1, 2. So these are tiny. And I'm going to grab the hood bonnet, whatever you wish to call it. You probably can't see what I'm doing here, can you guys? We're going to position that. There are 2 pins here with a threaded hole in the middle that I've tapped. And they've got 3 holes here in the hinge. So you've got 2 pins going in through the holes in the hinge. I should have prepared a screw. There we go. that's gone in a couple of turns. Now I can't let it go for fear of it getting scratched. Get on the bloody screwdriver, go on. Right, need to be very careful of these corners. I'm going to have to move this dog out of the way, I'm afraid. Be really careful you don't slip with anything here, because you can guarantee if you slip you're going to break something or mark something. So now we should be able to grab that and pop that into there, like that. There we are. So that's how that bonnet's going to close, and it closes perfectly. Quite how you're supposed to get it up again, I do not know. But here we go. Maybe a piece of masking tape. Nope. Maybe if we turn it upside down and shake it. Wow. That's interesting. I'm just looking at something here. I don't know how you're going to do it when the model is built. But if I can find something thin enough. Nope. There we go. Push it up there. But it actually springs itself closed, so actually looking here, it doesn't want to open. Okay, it doesn't open like that. What you do is you pull it forward. Pull it forward and then it goes back like that. Okay, the other thing we need to do is fit that latch. We haven't fitted that. So that's going to go that way round. So we'll just put a drop of glue in here. You can see what I'm doing, can you? Just put a drop of glue in there where it's going to fit. And that is going to go into there like so. Doesn't feel like a very positive gluing. It's not working because the bottom, as you can see here, the bottom is hollow. So what we need is glue in the holes. We'll just put some glue on the pins. Then grab some tweezers and drop it in. That's better. Little flake of yellow paint there. Okay, so that's good. So when we close the hood to open it, we pull the back up. Right. So that's closed now. I just want to check. Feels like something's not done up on here. Oh well, it's on there. It's not going anywhere, is it? So there we go. Now, all that remains to do now is to fit these forward air intakes. So do is have a look at this to see the contact area. Right. If we turn this upside down, we can see on the back where the contact areas are. So it looks like it's just those pins. I think it will actually stand up on its back. Yes, it will. So it kind of looks like it's just those pins that are contacting. What we'll do, we'll put some black super glue on here, because that pin is sub-flush. We'll put some on these pins here, and we'll also put some down this edge here. That was stupid, I shouldn't have got that on my finger, should I? Right, and then that in turn will drop into there like so, and hopefully we'll glue it into place. So we'll do the same on the other side. So put some down there. And we'll put some down here. And we'll put some on the end of those pins. And then we'll drop this in. Don't piss about, just go in. There we go. Got residue from the masking tape on here, it's going to have to be cleaned up. Make sure you don't push on the mesh, just push on the plastic. And hopefully that'll be enough to hold them in. If they do fall out, it's not an issue because they'll be easily glued back in. Maybe once they're in, we can come in from behind and have a look at doing something, but hopefully that's enough to hold them. I mean, this model is not going to be moved around very much, I can assure you. It's just going to sit, I don't know where. I don't know where it's going to sit. May even give it to a motor museum or something, we shall see. So there we go, guys, that is our front end completed. Just going to quickly go over yes, 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 yes. Water decals, haven't done those. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, so got some water decals to go on the underside of the bonnet, the hood. And we've done that, yes. And all this is done as well, isn't it? There we go. There we are. So let's have a look at these decals. So there we are. They're on 20, 21, 22. So I think that's something to do with, I don't know what, this is all the headlights and this is the brakes, I think, whatever. So there we go, so they're on, you can close the hood down. I have discovered how to open this hood. Okay, so what you do is you get something in behind, you just lift up this back corner and then get a cocktail stick, slide it down the side, and from the back just keep pulling forward and then it goes up. Okay, so there you are. So that is our front end complete, and I hope you agree, all that extra work with painting these grills, making sure they're folded up nice, gluing them in, all the extra work painting the headlights, I hope you agree it was worth it because it just looks So much better than everything just being glossy plastic. So there we go. Right, so I will see you all soon for, well, next Saturday for part 12, hopefully, and we'll make a start on the rear end. There has been a bit of an issue. I have actually damaged the engine cover, so I have been in touch with Hornby and I've asked for a replacement, and they've said they're going to send one. I haven't had anything yet. One of the problems with dealing with Airfix Hornby is I'm dealing with the marketing team, okay? There is a separate team that does deal with all the spares and everything, and they don't know me from Adam. So I need the marketing team to speak to the spares team to get to send me the stuff. And as you can imagine, they're quite busy. So it all depends how you catch them. I've contacted Airfix before for spare parts. I think it's the same department. And it's like that. Other times I've waited 2 weeks for a response. It just depends how busy they are at that time. But there we go. So happy with that, happy with how it's looking, and really glad we went to all the extra trouble of doing bits and pieces on it. So that is our front end complete. And the next part now, we are going to be going on to the doors according to this. So I want to get the rear end done first, really, because I don't want to start messing around with those doors while I'm trying to fit the big heavy rear end. So I suppose we could go on and build the doors, couldn't we? We shall see. But I will see you anyway for part 12. Thank you for watching this one. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe down here, just there, and give us a thumbs up, give us a like if you've liked what you've seen, and if you haven't liked what you've seen, then give us a thumbs down. What else was I going to say? Oh yes, in the description below this video you will find there is a link where you can go to Hornby and you can find out more about this model and other Pocher models, sorry, Pocher models, should you want to build one. I'm just going to give these hinges a little bend sideways just to pull that hood over a bit. There we go, that's better. If you click that link, that shows them that you are traffic that's been sent by me, because there's you'll see on the end there's an NMB, Nigel Modelling Bench, and that improves my relationship with them no end. So you'll be doing me a favour if you go and have a look, please. So if you want to get one of these and build along with me, as you've seen, we've already done part 11 now. I think we're probably looking at about 13, 14 parts, and it's going to be complete. So we shall see. I mean, I might get some surprises coming down the road, but I know I've got lots of painting to go. I've already got through about 2 pots of LP-5 satin black, so well, probably 1.5, because one of them was probably half empty already. But anyway, there we go. I will see you all soon. Thank you for watching, and as I say, hit that link below and have a look. Bye. Would you believe it? I switched the camera off, and as I switched the camera off at the end of the video, the doorbell went as a postman. And this has come from Hornby Hobbies. So that is absolutely incredible. That was within 30 seconds of me saying it, my new engine cover has arrived. So we can now do part 12. We can make a start on the rear end. Brilliant. Thank you, Hornby. Thank you, Marcus. Awesome.